A new position has been created at the University of Otago to make life easier for students transitioning into tertiary life. Dr. Stephen Scott is taking up the job as Director of First Year Experience, and he joins us to talk about it. Good evening.
Kia ora.
Tell us about your new role with that fancy title.
It's actually a really exciting role because I get to help first years transition from high school to university, and it's all about making sure they have a good first year, all students, international, domestic. The key thing is the university is a very large place, so we have lots of good activities, but they're scattered and not necessarily each other knowing what each other's doing.
Why do they need help?
Because the transition is huge. So from high school, you can divide the transition up into the academic, the social and the administrative. And at high school, NCEA, which most of our students take, is very different to the university. And there's a lot of very good skills they learnt in NCEA which won't work so well at university. In terms of social, we know Dunedin's a really cool place to be, and so there's a whole new social life for them, and so that can cause lots of fun but a lot of challenges. And administratively, they're away from their parents often for the very first time, and so they're in charge of their own finances, getting to class on time, a lot of things they might not have done for themselves.
What initiatives are already in place to help first year students?
There's already a lot of things in place. For example, there is the Student Learning Centre, which is a really good place for students to upskill, to get better at their studies. And then we have the Māori Centre, the Pacific Islands Centre and the Disability Centre for particular target groups. The departments are aware of what's going on and they try and help. So and the colleges, which the university has a very large college population, 75 to 80% of our first years come into a college, and they're very, very good at looking after first year students.
How are you planning to enhance those things?
The role for me is to focus more on their transition, because sometimes that isn't clearly expressed, and to look across the university for the areas of good practice and draw those good practices in and see if we can spread them more widely across the university.
Now, you created the Locals program at the university. Can you tell us about that?
It wasn't specifically me, but in 2011 we recognised that if you didn't go to a college, you weren't involved in Sports Day, you didn't go to UniSmart, you didn't do a whole lot of the cool activities that happen in O Week. And so a group of staff got together and organised O Week events for local students. And local students are living at home, flatting, boarding, they might come straight from school, they might have a gap year. And so these students missed out on some of the cool orientation events. So we started with that, and in 2013 we thought, well, why stop there? So I started pushing towards having a full year program for students to come on board with.
What are you most excited about in this new role?
The most exciting thing for me is working with students, working with like-minded staff, and making a difference in a very large organisation. So I've always been very student-centred. I like students to do well, and sometimes I see students don't do quite as well as they could because they get lost in that transition.
Is the makeup of our first year students changing?
Not too much. We have more Māori and Pacific students, but we have fewer mature students, and that's reflective of the entrance criteria. So our student body is similar. What I think has changed is that NCEA is our main assessment or our main kind of teaching tool now at school. And at university, particularly in first year, we still rely heavily on an examination system. And so students are coming in not so much with those skills, and so they're not surviving as well as they might. And so in terms of locals, this is for you. So that's a locals t-shirt. And it means that our students are branded, they have identity just like the colleges. And we have our very first locals event this Friday at 10 o'clock. So they're all going to come down to the Commerce Department, join in. We bust some myths around university and get them to meet other local students.
Dr. Stephen Scott, Director of First Year Experience, thanks very much for your time.
Thank you.